Hello, my name is Adauryy and welcome to my channel. I want to recap today on the video that I did last week, my most uploaded recent video. I did a Sunday overview on what I was looking for the week and what had my attention. There was a couple stocks I called out and I charted up and I predicted on prices of rising. I want to talk about the S&P 500 first. This is a S&P 500 index fund sector. I want to start with the weekly time frame where we're currently at right now. So we're at all-time highs for the S&P 500. It just keeps creating new levels. We go to the monthly time frame and we could see that like in this huge wedge in the top. We could go all the way back to 2007 and the crash of 2007, and then the pullback. So we could draw this trend line all the way out, and you kind of see like it's playing with it. Like either way, you could say we have resistance here, but we bring it back here, and we kind of popped out of that. We're in a total huge wedge on the monthly. If we go to the weekly time frame, you can see the same thing. It's just a big, huge wedge. We're just bouncing off of it. Just consolidated, like very steady, heading up, pullbacks. We pull back here, we headed higher. This is when tariffs were added on, by the way. This was back in 2018. Then we got the March tariffs that were added. We had this pullback, and buyers were just buying pullbacks as tariffs were being added to the market. We go to the daily time frame, and we can see we're at the top of this wedge, right? So we go to daily, we can see it's in a channel ever since November, beginning of November. The pullback was bought, and it started trading in this channel on the daily time frame. If we go to the top where we're currently resisting, today we resisted on a pullback. Overall, I'm still bullish on the S&P 500. January, we're supposed to get a ceremony or just some type of confirmation that a trade deal will be signed. Once it gets that confirmation, the market, it will be like an algo trigger where the market would just head higher off the news that has been kind of dying to get over with for like a whole year now, since December. I don't think tariffs will be done overall. I'm sure there's some type of trade deal after that again, which to manipulate the market. But overall, if this trade deal gets signed and it's China publicly says it got signed and they came to a deal, there will be a huge upper for the market. So on the 4 hour today, originally last week when I was talking about my video, S&P 500 was currently at 32.29, right? So this is the level it was at, and we broke out of this. This is the 4 hour. We was in this kind of consolidation from going up and down, and we finally kind of broke out of that level of resistance. We headed higher to create new levels. We reached the all-time of 32. We could say 32.54, right? And based off price action, kind of like it just died out. We had this doji, then this inverted green hammer, this huge, it's just this huge drop. They bought the pullback. We go 1 hour to see more specific on the candles. This huge drop, buyers bought the pullback. Price action kind of held this price it originally broke out of, and right now it's just kind of like on the pullback method, but it's just waiting on news for to come out. And yeah, it's just waiting on news to come out. We're supposed to get news. Market's supposed to get news. If no news comes out, let's say we enter the new year, we still haven't heard from China. But most likely we'll play in these levels right here on the 32.30 and consolidate until something happens, right? Or we probably end up heading lower. But if we get some type of confirmation for January or towards the end of the year, this pullback will most likely get bought, and we should head back to the highs, if not create new levels. We go to 30-minute, we can see what went on today. This huge candle, just like we had this doji right here, and this huge candle just came in. They kind of dumped it. They came in for a pullback, consolidated for some time. It couldn't break the level above on this daily zone, and it just kind of got rejected. Came back for the pullback, got rejected under. Then it just took a huge dip. They bought the pullback, but it's still kind of weak, so the pullback has to come in full motion. I expect by Monday, we get news on tomorrow, Saturday. Today is the 27th. There should be a gap by Sunday open. When the market opens, there should be a gap up, if the news can confirm, if we get some type of fundamental that could stay strong in the market, we should have a pullback. Let me jump into Apple. Apple last week, currently when I made the video, we was at the 279 level. Apple right now is at 289. Literally had a whole $10 move over the weekend, over Christmas. You know, we went from Monday, market was closed on Christmas, Wednesday, and then on opening on Wednesday, it just shot up and broke out of this level. If you go to the monthly for Apple, we could see that same thing for Apple. We in this huge channel. It's just it's been traded, and we entered this new level up here, and it's just been a channel on the monthly. We finally broke out of this level right here at the 230, which was a huge resistance. We broke out of it clean like butter. We go to the weekly, we can see the same thing. You can see the channel playing out. It's bouncing from level to level. If we go up closer, we can see this channel created. It's more of an inner channel. The price kind of like just traded between these levels. They came in for a pullback. They bought the pullback here, confirmed, went higher. We had a little slight pullback, false breakdown right here. They bought at the bottom of the channel and just continue going higher. We go to the daily. This moves with the China tariffs as well. Like one of the number one stocks that moves with China tariffs. You know, it's one of the top performing companies in S&P. So they move kind of pretty identical. Apple and S&P 500. If you look at today, we hit a resistance. We hit all-time high. We had this huge candle on the 4 hour. We go to the 1 hour and we could see Apple try to stay above this level right here. We had this green doji, which is a good move, but we had this doji to continue with it. Then we had this trying to breach the zone. It couldn't really stay above, trying to go higher. If we would have price action stayed above this level, 291, we probably would have had higher. But since they kind of just they ripped right through the zone, you know, buyers came in, bought the pullback. They couldn't really try to get above, come back to the highs. So they kind of stood on their zone. You know, it came back down, but buyers are still strong enough towards closing to buy it at 330. And we got that candle to finish. So that's a strong candle because we're holding the support level at the 288 level. So there's buyers here. So most likely, if we do get a little slight pullback, just like last week, literally, there's a trend line. Like, to see the trend line here, if it doesn't rip straight through the zone, then we'll probably get a pullback down here, and then we'll probably get some bottom up action, try to head higher, all depending on the news and the fundamentals that's going on over the weekend for the market, the last week of the year, you could say. Amazon, huge. Amazon was just huge this week, like insane. The moves it did, it really was insane. If I could just go to CNBC real quick, where I could show you the move that Amazon did for the week, or I could go the last 5 days. The last 5 days, Amazon literally ripped from 17. I was currently talking in my last video, Amazon being at, when I was charting on Amazon, I was bullish. I said I'm long on it to the 1800 level. It surpassed that today and yesterday. Last week's video, I was charting up, price was at 1786, right? Right now we're currently at 1869. Amazon just had a crazy week after Christmas. It shot up literally right after when the market opened on Thursday. Like, it just took advantage. It had no breaks. It shot up over $100+. I had it charted up here. Like, originally the way I had charted Amazon was that it was in this huge wedge here. As you can see, we were still holding this level right here at the 1750 level. That was one of the key levels because we had 3 candles on the monthly, but we're just green for 3 months. Even after missing earnings was kind of a pullback for buyers to get in, investors. If you look at the weekly, we can see this wedge still going on here. I'll zoom out a little bit. We can still see this going on here. And we had this double top down here, right? So then look at all this price action on the wedge of the trend. This is the weekly. We finally had that break. If I could do this right here with this trend line, bring all the way to the top of the weekly, and we could see, you know, price try to get above this. Look at this hammer, couldn't, it failed, right? Then we initially broke, pull back here. This is far back. This is all the way back in June 24th. We had this break of the wedge, pull back, tested the daily zone, then we headed higher, and then we created that all-time high, which was 220.35, you could say. Then it kind of just resisted, right? It went straight back to the 1700 level. But then we found ourselves in this wedge right here. It was trading back and forth, up, down, up. This was the miss on earnings, and they literally bought the pullback on earnings. And this, look, we was just holding this level on the trend. So kept a lot of eyes open, especially as Christmas was coming around. You know, Amazon was gonna make a lot of sales. Yeah, the numbers were gonna be outstanding. So we started trading between these two levels on the 17.95 all the way to the 17.80, $15 price. As I said in my last video, Amazon literally trades between $15 range until it breaks out. It broke out, and yeah, it went all the way from 1800 straight to the 1869 level. Actually higher, 18. You could say the 1900 got hit, which is insane. So that was kind of like a take profit level right there today. Easy puts, you know, it resisted, came back to the zone. The only way Amazon will head higher if it holds this level right here, the 1875 level. Same thing with the 1775. Um, we're literally at the 1885 level, so it's kind of like a new phase with Amazon. There's a gap here, kind of already filled it. So Amazon needs to play this part where it holds this level on the daily resistance, and it turns the resistance into support. Needs to stay above this level and try to head higher to break the highs of the 1900. Overall, I'm bullish on Amazon. They have earnings reporting on the end of January, so it's a very big possibility they could head higher. Oh no, I'm sorry, February. So big possibility if we look at the monthly, big possibility we could head back to the highs. And if they miss earnings, then of course they'll get dumped down. If they beat earnings, then honestly, who knows where Amazon could be by February or March within the next 2 months. But overall, market stays bullish. I'm bullish on Amazon. We could jump to Shop. This is another stock I talked about. Currently last week I was talking about Shop. It was at the 390 level. Right now it's at 408. It jumped up 18 bucks. We could look at the monthly right here. It's on a huge wedge. I'm sorry, channel. And it's kind of simple Shop. Like, it's nothing crazy about it. It's just been in a huge channel, bouncing up and down. Go to the weekly, you can see the same thing playing out. It's a huge channel. Once price comes down, reaches its peak, comes down, tries to break out, comes down, and then eventually just corrects back to that level. Right, got the EMA running right there, the 100 EMA. And right now we go to the daily channel, and we can see Shop is at this channel. It has created another channel within the channel, so you can see price kind of like uh this is like a inverted head and shoulders going on right here on the daily. So it tested the trend line, the huge channel that's been trading within. This is automatic calls. This is when they beat earnings as well. Price was currently testing that channel. It was gonna be a break or make for Shopify, but oh no, I'm sorry. They beat earnings, and it just kind of just shot up. Right, so it went up. I talked about this in my other video, one of my first videos. It went up. We caught this move. It went up, and it just kept going up. Right now, we're kind of almost at all-time high. Literally, we're at all-time high. I see Shop kind of breaking up higher. Holidays was definitely a push, just like Amazon. You know, one of those service companies. They just, when it comes to holidays, it's all about them because they're the ones shining. So we have the Shopify has to probably most likely fill this gap, but overall, it looks good because it's testing this trend line above on the channel. There's a huge candle that tried to break. They couldn't break. They've been holding this 410 level, and it's just been consolidating here. Look, we have another nice candle where price dropped down. They bought it. They bought the dip. This is a trend line running right here, by the way. And then it kind of like it still wasn't strong enough to head higher. So we had this candle. It looks good. So we could see buyers are in there, but overall it needs probably a bigger pullback, probably to the 403 level where this trend is currently running. If you look at the weekly right here, we could just throw this out here because it's at all-time high. We could throw this trend line to the top of the wick candle, and we could just extend it all the way out, and we could actually line it up with this wick as well. Go to daily, you can see this level as well right here. We laid it out. You can see that it kind of respected it somehow. You can see all this resistance right here. Then we're aligning with the zone. It respected it, but it was just too strong. It tested the channel and broke right through it. Actually, it gapped above it, as you can see. Then it tested it perfectly on top of it. So right now it's just on this pullback and price action. If we head higher, definitely a stock to keep an eye. Gold is another. It's a precious metal we caught this week. I can explain gold real quick. Dollar was very down this week. We can see the dollar here. Gold just took advantage. Even when the dollar was in correction mode, heading higher, the gold was still heading up. You can see that gold is in this huge wedge going on right here. I could even get more technical on the monthly, and you could kind of see that gold is on a huge, like it's gonna break up higher. It broke out of this wedge, and we're currently testing right above it. As you can see, that's the monthly. If we go to the weekly, we can see this. We can see the same thing going on, right? Look at this correction, right? Bounced off, rejected, came up again. We had this kind of this head and shoulder movement. Then we tested the trend line again, came back for a double bottom, broke right through that resistance that was there. You can see they kind of respected it. They rejected it once. Price still managed to break above. We came for a pullback, and look at this huge candle just spiked up. This is all the way in August, by the way. So this is this was in August. Yes, this was in August. I'm looking at the weekly. So this is gold has been in a strong level. Then it kind of did this correction mode, right? And then like right now we're kind of buying the pullback. Like right now it's kicking its engine. We go to the daily and we can see out of the wedge it broke out of. This was the wedge that was currently in. We have this daily resistance level right here, the zone, and it was in this wedge. The price was bouncing up, down, up, resisted. 3 days straight. We had finally a green candle, pullback, and then this was the initial candle to break out of that wedge. And we just continue higher. I see gold heading probably up to the highs again of the 1550 level. That's definitely a target it's going to go back to test this trend line running. And we probably get a pullback. We probably get this out of gold. Probably get a pullback here. Then attempt to break higher. We're going to break. Then we got that pullback to test the trend line. And this level above this resistance right here. We still got to mark that up. Test that trend. Test the zone. And head up higher. It's pretty obvious that most likely that will happen. I'm gonna quickly talk about Baba. Baba is along the same thing with China Trade. As China Trade gets better, Baba company manufacturing out of there, of course, and they've been listed on the Hong Kong index market. Baba just been killing it straight up. This is the monthly. We broke out of this wedge a long time ago. Right now it's just literally it could go on a bull run, and it's looking scary. That all-time high. You can look at the weekly, we're still in this wedge. We broke out so smoothly, like no red candles. There was just a pullback coming here. There's an inner channel, which I'm gonna show right now on the daily time frame, but we had this pullback, final pullback at the 189 level. Ever since then, it's just been straight bullish. We could look at the daily level, and we could kind of see there's a bunch of red candles inside the channel, but those are just kind of pullbacks. You see pullbacks going higher, pullback, head higher, pullback. It just kept shooting higher, and it was moving with news on China, so you could already know and speculate that China news just been nothing but pumping stocks and the market. And if they do get this trade deal, then that's where the huge part will come in. We could look at the 1 hour. We broke out of this. I'm sorry. We could look at the 4 hour, which is better. We look at the 4 hours inside this channel, trading up and down. We broke out of it. Right here, you can see price kind of consolidated slightly up. There was no hard pullback, and then we finally popped up above this wedge. We held it steady. They couldn't break. This is a 4 hour. We bounced up, pull back. We bounced up higher, pull back. We bounced up higher. So right now is on. I see this happening for Baba for this week on the trade deal. If there's something signing, some type of ceremony, some type of good news coming out of China or coming out of DC or Trump himself, I see this heading higher. It might test come back to the 215 level, 214, and that will be the dip to buy. If it goes slower, if it goes lower, I'll say the dip is still buyable until we get some like harsh news coming out, of course, other legitimate news sources. But other than that, I see this going higher. It's just all-time highs. We have this hard pullback here, and just buyers needs to hold the price of the 215 to 214 level. Tesla, last week I talked about Tesla. Tesla was at 405 on my Sunday overview video. Tesla right now is at 430. We caught this move, which I will be showing the profits soon in this video. I will merge them together. We caught all of this, honestly, what I'm showing you. We caught profits. This week been really good for the chat, for traded. And we can see, I'll explain Tesla real quick. You can see Tesla's on this monthly channel. We go to the weekly. We can see this huge channel going on, right? Tesla's just an outstanding stock. Like, we've been at highs so many times, right? There's an auto company. Look how well it performs. Like, there's really no break for Tesla. This drop happened off earnings. Actually, they beat earnings there. They missed earnings here on January 30th. I remember like the stock like was getting hammered. It just kept, nobody knew when it was gonna go back up, and it finally bounced up at this 185 level, which was so obvious. This was like the bottom of the channel, right? We had this double bottom. I caught some of this move. I didn't really catch most of it. I can't really remember, but I remember catching Tesla calls and like scalping it. But Tesla moves so much, which could be tricky. We go to the daily level. We could see this inner channel that's been going on. When I was currently talking about Tesla, it was at the 390 level, so it was right here. Kind of Tesla just kept rising. There was no breaks for it. We look at the 4 hour, you could see like there was no hard pullback. It just kind of like it was in this channel, it was just going higher. They couldn't really resist it here. It shot up higher. They tried breaking it. This was a gap. You know, in one day it was kind of a pullback. This is 4 hours, and within two 4 hour candles, there was a pullback. Gap the next day, had a higher pullback, pullback. It was just buying dips. Right now, this is a hard rejection. I think for Tesla, we might get like a slight pullback to the channel again, because it's been respecting this channel like crazy. So it hasn't even popped up out of it or anything. I expect a pullback coming into next week. Most likely probably this week we'll probably get a pullback, because it's been high, and then we finally get this hard candle here. Even after this candle here, like Tesla still managed to gap above it cleanly and just kept trading. So I won't be surprised if Tesla just starts shooting higher. We kind of could get a pullback back to the 424 level to head up higher. I see Tesla heading to 460. Another $30 move. I got this trend line moving here. I'm gonna explain this real quick. This is the wedge the channel has been trading in. Look, we got resistance here. So there's a target up here, and definitely I see Tesla hitting this level. We can say the 260 level. Anything between 260 to 280, Tesla could definitely get up. If the market is green, it's just a big possibility for Tesla to just keep going higher, create this giraffe move neck. And then we probably, of course, we'll get resistance up there. But overall, there isn't any reason to short Tesla, as there isn't any reason to buy Tesla, because it's so high, right? But it just keeps climbing. So what is it? You're gonna sell it or just buy it? Like it comes to that point where you have to kind of predict where price would just do, and you have to really pay attention to price action every day to see how buyers and sellers are really reacting. So far, buyers have been winning, and they've been holding the price just above. No news coming out this week. We don't have really any crazy data coming out. I say real data we have to pay attention is to for the new year, literally we have GDP, right? That comes out the first Friday of the month. And that will just determine, right, the strength of the dollar. That's going to determine what the dollar will kind of move. I think the dollar will just keep consolidating. If anything, will probably head up lower. I have to rechart the dollar, but it probably could come lower. This is really bad. There's a lot of these are like huge candles. You can see like this was Christmas. Like it just dipped. They bought the dip, but it still managed to come down. Maybe it could bottom up here. Maybe. Other than that, if it doesn't, then the dollar's looking at more of a lower move. It makes sense, you know. Trump wanted the dollar lower, and the Fed cut rates 3 times this year. So we could expect the dollar to head lower. I won't be surprised. As well as keep an eye on gold. If the dollar keeps just heading lower, gold will be definitely a buy. Silver, any precious metal, anything against the dollar will be perfect to buy. Just have to chart up those currency pairs and just be alert during sessions.